Hello, I'm Mohammad Bakar Azim, and I'm your instructor for the course 9/11 Film and Human Rights. This is a winter course and it has 4 credits. It's online asynchronous. So as you see over here on the top, the course is asynchronous, which actually means that we will not have teaching interaction through a live session. Rather, you would be able to listen to my pre-recorded lectures, and those lectures will be related to various topics and readings that we will be discussing in the class. So in a way, it is a requirement for all of you to listen to all the lectures as I upload them in Brightspace. So essentially, I will be sharing with you the links of the recordings because primarily I will be uploading the lectures on YouTube. So over here, today I'm going to introduce the course to you, and you will be able to ask any questions through email at a later stage after you listen to this recording. So I do not have any specific office hours, but we can have office hours and we can meet through a live session as and when needed. So basically, you email to me and let me know if you want to discuss any of the topics in details or any of the questions and concerns you have, or later when you start writing your paper, if you want to discuss your paper in more detail, you are welcome to schedule a meeting with me. That will be a live meeting, and we should be able to talk about whatever questions, concerns, or issues you have at hand. So the communication policy basically involves that the major way to interact with me is through my email, which is given over here. I already sent you an email using Brightspace. I think you should be able to see this email over there as well. So I should be able to return to you and reply your emails within 48 hours. So here is the description of the course. Most of you have already seen it when you signed up for the course. So I'll go over it real quick. So this course focuses on the representation of human rights in films about 9/11. We will discuss how films represent human rights and who can claim human rights in the wake of 9/11 attacks and the war on terror. The topics include detentions at Guantanamo Bay, torture, surveillance, drone strikes, Islamophobia, racism and racial profiling, trauma and securitization. Films may include In the Name of God or Khuda Ke Liye, American Sniper, Zero Dark 30, which is available on Netflix till December 31, The Report, and Eye in the Sky. We will also read select theoretical works by Aghaman, Butler, Kanishka Chaudhary, and others. Assignments include short response papers each week and a final paper. Now, the time frame for the responses is going to be a little different, not exactly each week. So I hope you get it. There is a winter break in between, so I really had to kind of distribute the responses over various days, but you will see the specific dates for the responses in the assignment schedule, which is at the bottom of the outline. So 3 general ads apply here: C, G, and H. Course objectives: the learners will watch and critically analyze the films about 9/11 and its implications for US as well as the world. Learners will be able to interpret visual elements in the films to identify themes like illegal detentions, torture, surveillance, drone strikes, Islamophobia, racism and racial profiling, trauma, and securitization. And then learners will be able to produce one academic paper to demonstrate their critical engagement with the films and secondary resources. So here is the list of the required films. Once again, it's there in the description as well. But over here, I also have given some information about the availability of these films. So probably just the first film, In the Name of God, is available on YouTube. So just the first film, In the Name of God, or Khuda Ke Liye, which is Urdu translation of this phrase, is available on YouTube without any cost, but rest of them involve payment one way or the other. So you can see over here all the details about the availability. So other than required films, we have required readings as well. So I should be able to provide you with all of these readings. I'll be uploading the PDFs in Brightspace. So this is an additional reading. It is just relevant, but not required for the course. For characters and expectations, these are general expectations which apply to all other 4 characters course as well. I suggest you have a look at these expectations. You must have seen these expectations in other 4 characters courses as well that you are taking or you have taken in the past. Let's come to grading criteria. So that is something unique to this course. So you will be submitting to me in total 6 response papers, and each will be 1 page length, right? So for each response, there is a credit of 5. You'll be submitting to me 1 final paper, which will be 14 pages. So in total, you are writing 20 pages of academic writing. And then you will be making a presentation. That presentation will be depending on the number of students in the class, either in a pair or as a group, right? So either 2 students will be paired with each other to make a presentation on one of the films, right? Or in some cases, 3 students will work together on one presentation. Now, in a kind of in-person class, as you can imagine, all the presentations are listened to by all the students, right? So the students are the audience. Now, in this case, because the presentations are not going to be live, they're going to be recorded. Therefore, we have an inbuilt requirement to give an assessment, which I call peer assessment of each presentation as well. So all the students in the class would be sharing their comments on each presentation, unless you are presenting the same day, right? So if there are 5 presentations in total, each one of you will be providing peer assessment of 4 presentations, right? You will not provide peer assessment of the presentation that you are making. So I will be posting a specific question for your assessment of the presentation, and you will be writing your assessment on the presentation, keeping that question in mind. So this will be very general assessment, okay, not very intellectually challenging, right? And then the last item on grading criteria is participation in discussion on Brightspace. Once again, I will be posting a discussion prompt and you will be responding to that discussion prompt. So there is going to be a specific question and all of you will be required to respond to that. More details will be coming up for participation in discussion. Now over here, there is detailed information about each of the assignments. So for example, for the response paper, each response paper will be 1 page. It will be formal and polished piece of writing. Then the final paper will be 14 pages. It will be a mini academic paper. The students will use 2 films and 2 theoretical or critical readings to write their final paper. And then the paper should have a valid thesis statement, relevant arguments composed in formal and well-organized prose. And then there is revision process involved. So the students will revise final paper using the instructor's feedback. So I'll be providing you feedback on your final paper and you will have to then revise your paper and submit a final draft of the paper. And revising your paper is a requirement. The recorded presentations, you will be preparing your recorded presentation as per the following requirements. Each presentation will be 10 minutes. And then in the content, you should have a thesis or contention. There should be description of primary, secondary resources. There should be 4 arguments, and there should be a conclusion. You will be designing your presentation through PowerPoint slides. You will also have works cited over there. You will have additional suggested resources. And then for submission, you will have to upload your recorded presentation in Brightspace. So participation in discussion. You will be responding to the prompt or question posted under discussion in Brightspace. Your response should be 50 words plus minus. So these are general policies about the due date and submission of the assignments on time. All students must read the required material on the assigned date, and you should not plagiarize under any case. So when I say over here, all students must read the required material on the assigned date, probably we should also add to that and listen to the uploaded lectures and listen to the uploaded lectures. There is no possibility of absence in this course as such because it is asynchronous, right? But your attendance will be kind of monitored through your discussion participation, right? So the requirement for you is, so there is no grading for attendance as such, right? But there is grading for discussion, participation in discussion, right? So you should make sure that you participate in all the discussions which have been posted in Brightspace, right? So your participation in the discussion will reflect your engagement with the class through attendance. So that is kind of your attendance in the class, right? So your participation in the discussion is an indication of your attendance in the class. Academic integrity this is a general policy about academic integrity across the university. Disability related equal access accommodation statement. So there is SSD office, but as an instructor, I'll be available to lead you to any relevant resources. So here is schedule of the course and important deadlines. So December 19, introduction of the syllabus, that is you are listening right now. December 20th, we will be reading the first article. You will find this article in Brightspace. And on December 20th, after you have read the article and after you have listened to a lecture about and my briefing about this particular article, you should also submit your response paper. That will be first response, one-page response on this article. Additionally, you should be responding to the discussion prompt that I will be posting related to this particular article. So December 21, the second reading, response 2. In addition to this response, you will also participate in the class discussion through the prompt that I will post. December 22nd, again, actually 2 articles, but there will be 1 response and then discussion participation. December 23rd, another chapter, a response on that, and discussion participation. And then over here we have winter break, December 24th until January 3rd. So after the break, so there is no assigned work in the break as such. But if you have time in the break, I would suggest you to use that time to watch all these films included in the syllabus. So we'll be viewing, watching, discussing the films after the break. So right after the break, January 4th, we will start discussing how to write an academic paper for a course on film. I mean, a course like this. Now, this is the time where I would be suggesting you to plan your paper. There is no submission at this stage. January 5th, we will discuss the first film, In the Name of God, and you will also be writing your response 5 on this particular film and submitting it the same day, which is January 5th. Now, here we have presentation 1 and discussion participation. Now, for the presentation, I will be giving the students an option to choose one of the films on which they would like to present. So to begin with, at least 2 students should work together on one film for the presentation. Okay, so as you see that the presentations are not going to begin before January 5th. So you have time from December 19th until January 4th to decide which film you are going to present on and who you are going to present with. So I'll help you through the process of finding a partner with whom you will work or finding members with whom you will work for the presentation. So presentation instructions are already there, okay, but once again I will be giving the instructions at a later stage. So January 6th, the second film, American Sniper. You will also be writing a response on this film. There will be a presentation. on the same day, and then peer assessment of the film, uh, uh, peer assessment of the film, of the presentation on the film, right? So this peer assessment is actually an assessment of the presentation which took place a day earlier. Okay, and then discussion participation will be about American Sniper. 0:30 presentation 3, peer assessment of the presentation which happened a day earlier, and then discussion participation. Presentation 4 on the report, peer assessment of the presentation that happened a day earlier, and then discussion participation. January 9th, Eye in the Sky, presentation 5, then peer assessment of the presentation that happened one day earlier, and then discussion participation. From January 10th, that is the time when we are done with all the films, we will be having a kind of workshop on the paper that you are writing. So January 10th, you also have to do peer assessment of the presentation which took place a day earlier. And along with that, we will be working on first workshop. We will discuss how to write the topic of your paper, thesis of your paper, literature review of the paper, and theoretical framework of the paper. Now, this is also the time where I will be asking you to submit to me a very basic, primary, and preliminary first draft of your paper. So I want you to have this draft ready by January 10th, so that you should be able to work on that draft, right? To develop it, polish it, revise it, using all the discussions we will be having through workshop 1, workshop 2, and workshop 3. Okay, so over here, I would have already explained to you what kind of paper I'm expecting from you. On January 4th, you will already get some information about the paper that you have to write. Okay, so you should have the first draft ready by January 10th, and then use the time on January 10th, not really January 10th, but January 11th and January 12th and January 13th as well, to revise this paper, right? So let me put over here a revision of the paper, right? So January 14th, you will be submitting to me a final draft of the paper, and that will be the end of the semester and end of the course as well. So this is the overview of the syllabus. Once again, welcome to the course 9/11 Film and Human Rights. So I look forward to an exciting semester. After listening to this overview, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And there could be a little bit, changes in the syllabus, right? Nothing major, right? Little bit revisions, right? Especially as you have any questions or any concerns, which you email to me. So in light of those concerns or questions, there is a possibility of minor revisions, right? But this is pretty much the syllabus. So the next step for you to do is to read the first article, right? You should be able to see this article in Brightspace, right? So on December 19th, you see this article. December 20th, by the end of December 20th, you should submit to me the response on this article, But once again, please do listen to the recording of my lecture on this article before you start writing the response. So good luck with the semester, and I look forward to your responses, your discussion, and your presentations. And don't think about the presentations at this stage yet, okay? We still have some time for that. Okay. So I'll send you more instructions about the presentation. All right, bye for now.